In this presentation, I'm just going to discuss the setting up of the email settings themselves. Now, if I just bring up the EasyAs emailer. Now, with EasyAs, if I attempt to send an email, I'll show you what's going to happen here. If I try to send that, it's going to come up and tell me that it's invalid hosting. Something is incorrect. Now, what's going on here when you see that sort of a thing come up? That's because there are no email settings set up. If I click mail settings, we have to come in here and set up our email settings. You're going to look at that and you're probably thinking, what are we talking about? This has nothing to do with EasyAs, guys. This is out of our control. It's nothing to do with us. What it is these are your settings which are provided to you by your ISP. So if you've already got an email program on your PC and you're already collecting and sending emails, you have had to at some point put in these settings into that program. And those settings are normally provided by your ISP. In EasyAs here, we have different ISP providers that are providing us services. Now, one of them is Optus. We would have to put in the Optus mail server's address, the login details, and the password. We also have other providers that provide us with email facilities. Now, we've got no control over these guys. If this doesn't work, if you put in the wrong details, we can't help you. There's no point sending emails to EasyAs because there's nothing we can do. This is out of our control. The facility is here and it works. It's been tested. It works. Without fail, it works. It's up to you to put the right information in. Now, I'm just going to pause the video. I'm going to bring up a couple of screens from a couple of email providers, and this will make sense as soon as I bring them up. What I've done is I've jumped over to the internet and I've gone to a few ISP providers and I've found out what their settings are. Now, because I'm in Australia, I've used a couple of Australian ISP providers because I know who they are. Whoever it is you're connected with, you just go to them, they'll have a help desk and they'll be able to tell you what the settings are. Now, I know a lot of people, a lot of small businesses don't even use their ISP provider. You might be connected with Joe Blow's ISP that serves you your internet pages, and you have no idea what I'm talking about as far as email goes. You might not even know that you've got an email facility with your ISP. I know a lot of small businesses actually don't realize that. However, if say you're using Gmail or you're using Hotmail or some other free email service, they will have settings you can use. You need to go back to them and see what the settings are. Naturally, Gmail and Hotmail, you can't talk to anyone. Just jump on the net and do a search. And you're looking for example, if you just jump into Google and just type Gmail email server settings or something like that. Email server settings. In actual fact, if I see what came up there, settings for Outlook, see this? That's exactly what we're looking for. The same settings you'd put in Outlook would be exactly what we're looking for. How to set up an Outlook Gmail account. There we go. That's what we're looking for. So let's jump over here. And it's going to tell us how to set up Outlook. But we're not interested in that. All we really want is the settings. And here we go. Outgoing mail settings. That's exactly what we're looking for. That's all we're looking for. So if I, for example, if I just copy that now, I'm going to copy the outgoing mail, and all I'm looking for is the SMPT. Now, I'm going to jump back over to EasyAs for a second. See, it's got here mail server. That's what I'm looking for. I'm looking for the outgoing mail server settings, because what's actually happening is when EasyAs sends an email, it actually sends it through your ISP. All it's doing is it's sending an email. It goes to your ISP, or it uses their settings. It's actually not even sending an email. It's using, this connects, logs into your ISP. And in this case, if it's Gmail, it logs into Gmail, because what you have to do next is you have to put in your login email, login name and login password that you would normally log into Gmail with. That's what you've got to put in there. So if you've got a Hotmail account, you have to find out what their settings are, because they're going to be different. This is always different. This depends on what ISP you're with, okay? And you put in your login name and your password, and it will send the email. Now, I'm going to test that with one of our test accounts. Right, I had to go away and come back and test a couple of things, just to be 100% sure of myself. Here we've set up I'm going to set up and show you how to use Gmail because I want you to see what's going on. Now, we have a couple of settings here. The mail server settings I've already looked at, and they're going to be obvious to you. Will be provided to you, whichever you use. And they're all going to be different. If I just jump over here and I'll show you that they are different. If I look at Big Pond has mail server settings. They want you to use this, pop3.live.com. They actually want you to use that. If I look at Optus, they want you to use mail.optus.net.com.au. So if I was using Optus, I would type that into here. So they're all different depending on who you're using. Gmail is easy because a lot of people have Gmail accounts. That's the Gmail settings. Now, the only other thing you've got to look at is it's got this connection type up here. It's all to do with security or to do with how this provider wants you to log into their system. And Gmail, a lot of times, a lot of ISPs are going to be simply SMTP25. You don't have to change it, but you do have to double check. And I know Gmail, I just tested it a minute ago to see what was going on. I don't know what that is. And if you have a look here, this was Gmail's settings, and they talk about an outgoing server SMPT field. You've got to enter 465, and they want you to use SSL. It provides it there for you. Click here. They want you to use SSL, and the default is 465 anyway. Now, if it wasn't 465, if yours came up with something different, just type in 465. That's all you've got to do. 465. Now, that is set up to use that server. Now, all you've got to do is put in your username and your password. Now, I'm not going to show you what the real password is here, but I want you to see what happens in EasyAs. If I was to type in a password, right, and I press enter here after I've typed it in, you'll see it's going to change. This is going to hide your password. It's a password issue. Sorry, no, I'm not going to hit enter. If I click OK, this will change. I'll show you. See that change then? It's a hidden, that error come up, and I'll tell you why that is in a minute. It's changed it, so don't be worried about that. It's always going to change it. It hides your password. No one else can jump in and see what your password is. So if you're using your account and you want to keep it private, you've got other office staff, they won't know what your password is. They'll still be able to send an email through your using that, but they won't be able to log in Gmail online because they won't know what your password is, okay? So that's going to hide it away. Now, why did this pop up then? It's simply because when I clicked OK, EasyAs does a test. By default, it does a test and goes out and sees if it can connect to the server. Sees if it can connect, in this case, to Gmail. And it sees if it can log in using your username and password. If it couldn't do that, it's come back and said it can't do it. Why? In this case, I know it can't do it because I used the wrong password. That's why that came up, okay? Do you like to close? Oh, it's telling us, even though it's incorrect, do you want to close this screen? If I click yes, it closes that setting screen, even though it was incorrect. Now, if I try to send an email now, if I use those settings and try to send an email, let's come back up again. It's going to be wrong because it's not going to be able to send it. And if I just click send here on this one, you'll find out it's going to see it's come up with a problem. It's caused by invalid or unnecessary username or password. There we are. Now, if I click up here again, I'm going to go away and enter the correct password here. I'm just going to pause the screen because I don't want you to see what it is. Okay, I've entered the right password then, and you notice that came back up. If I just jump back up to my email settings, I entered the correct password for this account that EasyAs sometimes uses. This is just a test account, guys, that EasyAs uses for testing. Now, if I click OK, I'll prove to you that worked. I already entered my correct password. If you entered it correctly and everything's correct, this screen will close. See that? That's closed. That's it. If that occurs, your settings are in there. Depending upon what your provider is, will depend upon what settings you're going to be using. Right? That's it. If you can put the email settings in and then send yourself a test email. I'm sending it to myself, even though the settings in here are my own settings. They are the test email account EasyAs set up. I can send myself a test email. There's no problem in doing that. So I send myself a test email. I click send. Give it a subject, I guess. From EasyAs to there, click send. And it will come up and it will say it's sent. Message sent. If you receive that email, you know it's working. You know everything's set up correctly. And here's the email that we sent as a test.